Now this won't be a 0 to 60, but it'll be a 0 to 50. Oh, sounds so good. We are starting our nighttime POV and voila. You probably can only see the daytime running lights here on the Titan Pro-4X, but I love the look of the daytime running lights. And before we start anything else, we actually need to lock the truck up. Well, first off, notice the light here on the side. Definitely like that. Helps out with seeing where the door handle is and everything. And if you don't memorize the buttons on the key, you can just put it under the little light and that'll help you out with that. But let's lock the truck so you guys can hear the beautiful sounds from the engine, because let me tell you, this V8, actually, it just told you itself. It sounds so nice. I definitely like the sounds that come from this engine. And then, by the way, if you just hold the remote start down again, then that'll actually shut it off, which we need to turn it back on because I need to show you guys the taillights. So now going over the taillights here with the truck, I love the look of the full LED lights here in the back. I definitely think they just have like a really nice, distinctive, clean look. And yeah, I don't know, I think like the 3D shape of everything just looks really good. And then let's actually pop over to the front. Notice the light pops on when you actually walk by the truck. Motion sensor, which is pretty neat. And if we pop in here, which it does have keyless entry, just press that little button right there and then that'll unlock it. Notice, got the little Pro-4X plaque right there, which looks really neat. But actually popping in, all you have to do is just push the push start when you remote start it and then it'll start everything up. The lights are on right now. That's with the lights off. And then this is with the lights on, so you can see the difference in terms of the illumination there in the front of the truck. I am no longer allowed to say path of illumination because everyone called me Illuminati after that, which is, I get the angels and demons reference, which is funny. But anyways, here's the headlights of the truck at night. I think they definitely have a nice distinctive look with the LEDs. Now, a couple things before we set off. I did forget to show you guys the fog lights, which I don't know if it's going to pop on a camera because the fog lights illuminate the lower portion of the ground, and so it's not really going to pop on all that much. And I'll hop out again in just a second so you can see the fog lights. Here's kind of some of the visibility you can see. It'll be better when we do the daytime review. One thing that's pretty neat, this truck has almost 550 miles of range on a full tank. That's awesome. That's a lot of range, but we've got the fog lights on so that all of you can quickly see the look now with the headlights on and the fog lights on, and now we are officially going to set off. Now the first couple minutes of this nighttime POV are going to be in a neighborhood setting, and then we're going to go to the street for a second and then onto the highway and then kind of back on the street so that you can all see different driving circumstances and how this truck looks at night with all those different driving circumstances. First off, here in the neighborhood, it's great. The amount of visibility I get here with the lights is absolutely perfect. The lights are really bright, and again, it's illuminating everything with the truck. And this is a random point, but the Nissan Titan comes with a power adjustable steering wheel, which my truck doesn't even have that, which is crazy, especially considering the price difference. So go Nissan for giving your customers a power adjustable steering wheel. That is a huge plus for me. But going through the neighborhood here, again, like I said, the lights illuminate everything really well. The truck does a really good job at lower speeds. The one thing I love about the Titan here is with the steering, you actually get quite a bit of feel through the steering, and it has more of an old school feel with the steering wheel itself. It's got a heavier steering rack, which I absolutely love. It just, again, you get a little bit more feel through the steering wheel, and it just feels like I'm doing something substantial as I'm turning the wheel. Something that I've done in other trucks is I always have them in a sport setting with the steering so that I have that heavier steering, but this truck just comes like that from the factory, and yeah, I really like the feel of it, and the size of the steering wheel is really nice as well. Now we are popping into more of an urban setting here with the Pro-4X, and we'll be at a little bit higher speeds on top of that. But something I also want to mention is just look at the view here with the dash, everything that is illuminated here with the Pro-4X. I think all of it just looks really nice. And the one thing I do want to mention is it's not too much lighting. Some vehicles will have way too much interior lighting. This is the perfect amount where I can see all of the controls, but they aren't bothering me with being illuminated way too much. I think that the color that they chose on top of that really helps out as well, because everything's orange, which I love the look of the orange, but orange is a nice kind of, it's a bright enough color that you can see everything, but it's soft enough that, again, it's just not harsh on your eyes at night, which I know that's a weird thing to mention, but I review enough cars to be able to notice that. And yeah, I just think it's definitely a neat look. Now we are about to get onto the interstate here with the Pro-4X, and we will get an acceleration, and we will be able to hear the beautiful sounds from the engine, and trust me, it sounds amazing. Handling's really good on the truck as well, but yeah, it sounds like a race car almost. It has that like muscle car sound to it, just really powerful, and it's got really good torque. So if you guys don't know, I live up in Utah, and we're at about 4,500 feet elevation here, and so we do get some power loss from naturally aspirated engines. Not a problem at all with the Nissan. It gets up and goes at a really good rate. And on the highway here, this is one of those highways that has everything segmented, so you actually do get quite a bit of vibration in any vehicle. It's just a bumpy portion of the interstate, and the Pro-4X is taking it really well. And that's one of the benefits of having an off-road truck with shocks like this, is over bumpier terrain like this, even if it's on road, the truck soaks it up very, very nicely, and so it doesn't make it uncomfortable whatsoever. And so yeah, that was kind of our little highway run. Don't worry, we'll have a full highway video coming in the near future. But yeah, so far, really fun truck to drive and really nice. This would be a really good daily driver truck that would just be comfortable to drive in all sorts of circumstances. Now this won't be a 0 to 60, but it'll be a 0 to 50. Oh, sounds so good. And the gear shifts are amazingly smooth. This transmission's really good at downshifting into the right gear. You guys saw that when we did the highway acceleration. Perfect at accelerating right into the right gear, so you get a ton of torque and a ton of power. But then it's also really good at upshifting. It's very quick, very seamless. It has this very nice, smooth feel to it. And yeah, I really like that from an acceleration standpoint. And I've decided to give you guys a little bit of a treat for the rest of the nighttime POV. We're gonna finish things off in one of the canyons here in Utah, so you can see what this truck is like to drive on some canyon roads at night. So if you're having some sort of skiing adventure or something like that, and you end up staying up pretty late, then you'll be able to see what the Pro-4X is like on one of those roads. Now we will get an official canyon POV with the Nissan Titan in the day, so that you guys can actually see the beautiful scenery with the canyon, and then I'll be able to do a full review of how this handles in canyon roads during the day. But during the night's also very important, because canyons like this one typically don't have any sort of lighting throughout the canyon, right? It's a natural place, so you're not going to have tons of lighting. And this really shows how good the lights are here on the Pro-4X, because you've got tons of frontal visibility here, and if I pop on the fog lights, it gives me a little bit more visibility on the sides of the truck as well. So if any little animals run across the road or anything like that, then you're gonna be able to see them. So from a visibility standpoint, again, these lights are really good, and it just shows quite a bit in the front. And I love how wide the visibility range is as well. There's a lot of vehicles that their range won't be nearly as wide, but this truck is really good. And you guys can see the handling on the truck is great, actually. I am very impressed with the handling on this truck, and that's not necessarily super important, because ultimately this is an off-roader that also can tow. It's a very multi-purpose vehicle. That being said, though, it actually handles really well. There's not a ton of body roll for a truck, and just the turn-in's really good. And like I said, you get tons of feedback through the steering wheel for a truck, and so I know exactly where the front end's going, what the front end is doing. I feel like I'm talking as if I'm reviewing a performance car when this is a truck. This thing's actually really good. I am so impressed. I've never been able to drive a Titan for as long as I've been able to drive this one. And so I've never been able to see this kind of stuff before, and like I said, I'm very impressed. Now let's cap things off while we're still in this beautiful canyon so you can see more fun handling. And also, here are the brights. That is a big difference. So yeah, there's the brights. Had to put that in the review as well. If we don't put the brights in, then is it really a nighttime review? Now let's sum things up for the Titan from a nighttime perspective. Now something that's kind of hard for me to show in the video is the feeling that you get from the panoramic sunroof, because this does have a panoramic sunroof. It's just really dark and the camera's not going to pick it up very well. But I love vehicles with panoramic sunroofs like that. Definitely lets in a lot more light. And when you're in a place like downtown Salt Lake, where you've got all the lights from the tall buildings, then it just comes into the car and gives you a really cool feeling. So glad that this has that as an option. Definitely another cool feature for nighttime driving. The lighting, you guys know, I think the lighting is great from, well, you've got the regular lights, the fog lights, and then the brights. All of it is great with this truck. And then all the other stuff with the nighttime, I think it's good. It's got, the taillights are really nice. They kind of illuminate things in the back. So if you're around the back area, then that's great. And then the lights on the mirrors, that's really nice. Again, for finding the door handle. And then also, it does have keyless entry. But I mean, sometimes, like people like me, I just like to press the button. And so it's nice that I can put the key under the light if I don't memorize exactly where the button is on the keychain. Or if I drop something, then boom, you have that light on the side of the mirror that's going to show you everything on the ground so that you can pick up what you dropped at night. So I think that's very practical, really nice. I love the interior layout. I think the lighting with the gauges, with the screen, everything, I think it's really nice. It's the perfect amount of light, and I think the coloration's really good so that it's not too harsh on your eyes at night, because again, that can happen with vehicles. And then with this canyon driving, again, with how wide the lighting is, it's perfect. It shows everything on the side of the road, shows everything in front of me. And so yeah, if anything runs in front, then we'll be able to see it well in advance so that we don't run over any little critters in today's review. And so yeah, if you are looking at a Nissan Titan Pro-4X, or just a Nissan Titan in general, because they have the same lighting in their other trucks, then from a nighttime perspective, I would rate it very, very highly for trucks. They did a really good job with everything. And so yeah, that is our nighttime review with the Pro-4X.